Hey there, trail trekkers and tall tale seekers. You're tuned in to the 406 Life, the podcast where Montana Max, your Bigfoot buddy and outlaw gear mascot, yeah, that's me, leads you through the wild, weird, and wonderful corners of Montana. Each week we share stories, legends, and laughs from the last best place. So grab your boots and sense of adventure, because we're about to make some Montana-sized memories. This episode's powered by Outlaw Gear, where rebels get their style. Want to look legendary? Mosey over to I'mAnOutlaw.com and claim your outlaw status. Well, you found me. I don't know how exactly. I've been hiding in these mountains for about 4 centuries, and somehow you stumbled onto my podcast. That's either real impressive or real embarrassing, and I can't decide which. Either way, welcome to the 406 Life. I'm Montana Max. And before we get into it, I'm going to ask you a favor right up front. Rate this show, leave a review, tell your people. I know. It feels a little weird taking directions from a Bigfoot. But here's the thing. I've spent 400 years being invisible, and I'd like at least one thing in my life to be easy to find. Just this once. 5 stars. It won't kill you. All right, let's talk about roads. Specifically, the ones in Montana that most folks blow right past. The ones the GPS doesn't know about. The ones that don't have a gift shop at the end. I'm talking one-tank trips. Fill up once, pick a direction, and let this state work on you the way it's supposed to. Now I've covered a lot of ground in my time. A few centuries will do that. And I will tell you straight, the best parts of Montana don't have signs. They don't have parking lots or shuttle buses or a sponsored Instagram post telling you where to stand for the photo. They've just got gravel and trees and maybe a waterfall spraying your windshield if you're lucky enough to find them. Let's start up in the northwest corner, the Yaak Valley. Now the Yaak is one of those places that doesn't care if you show up. It's remote, it's mossy, it smells like rain and fir resin and something older than both of those things. There are fewer than 500 people living up there year-round. 500. I've seen 4th of July parades in Missoula with more foot traffic than the entire population of the Yaak Valley. Highway 508 runs about 29 miles north from Troy, which, for the record, sits at Montana's lowest elevation at just under 1,900 feet, up into the valley. Along the way, you've got Yaak Falls, a short, easy hike, and some of the best temperate rainforest in the entire Pacific Northwest. Glacier lilies, calypso orchids, the kind of biodiversity that makes you feel like you accidentally walked into a nature documentary. And then there's the Dirty Shame Saloon, which brews its own huckleberry beer. Now, I don't exactly belly up to bars, but I've lingered nearby long enough to watch grown adults take their first sip of that huckleberry beer and just stop. Go quiet. Get a look on their face like they finally understand something they couldn't explain before. I respect that. Some experiences don't need commentary. From the Yaak, you can loop back toward Libby on Forest Development Road 228 along Lake Koocanusa, a 90-mile reservoir that actually crosses the Canadian border, which means you can drive from the Dirty Shame Saloon to Canada without technically leaving the scenic byway. I feel like that deserves some kind of award. Ready for your next Montana home? Visit mostwantedrealestate.net. Because that's how the West is sold. Now let's head south and talk about the road that personally delights me the most. The Skalkaho Highway, Highway 38. 45 miles connecting Hamilton in the Bitterroot Valley to Phillipsburg in the Flint Creek Valley. Built in 1924. Originally followed an old Salish route called Many Trails. 21 miles of that are unpaved, narrow, steep drop-offs. Blind curves, trailers, and large RVs are prohibited. I want to say that again. Prohibited. Because people still try it. I watched a man attempt the Skalkaho in a 32-foot travel trailer about 6 years back. I was up in the trees minding my business. He made it about 4 miles into the gravel before the math caught up with him. The look on his face when he realized he had to back that thing down the mountain. I genuinely felt bad. For about 30 seconds. Then I felt entertained. Then I felt bad again. It's a whole journey. Skalkaho Falls is right alongside the road, a 150-foot waterfall that will spray your vehicle during spring runoff, and the pass itself sits at 7,260 feet in dense subalpine forest. Elk, mountain goats, moose, black bears. Drive from Phillipsburg to Hamilton if you can. That keeps you on the inside lane instead of the cliff edge. Small detail, meaningful difference. At the bottom of the Skalkaho, you land in Phillipsburg, and Phillipsburg deserves your time. The Gem Mountain. Sapphire Mine out there is the oldest and largest sapphire mine in the state. You can sift through glacial gravel yourself and pull out raw Montana sapphires. They'll cut them and heat treat them on site. I've seen families come through that mine and leave with their kids convinced they're professional geologists, which is a fine thing to believe at any age. And just north of town, Granite Ghost Town, Silver Boom Town in the 1880s, 3,000 residents at its peak. The whole thing emptied out in under a year when silver prices collapsed in 1893. The Miners' Union Hall is still standing. So is the mine superintendent's house, both just sitting there on the hillside, looking out over a valley that moved on without them. I've been to Granite more times than I can count. There's something about a place that got left behind that I find relatable. Now let's head to central Montana for a minute because I need to tell you about the ice caves. Southeast of Lewistown, the big snowy mountains rise straight up out of the plains. The Crystal Lake Recreation Area sits at about 5,700 feet. And from there, the Ice Caves Trail climbs nearly 5 miles to the Snowy Crest Ridge, gaining 2,200 feet in the first 3 miles, which is the mountain's polite way of saying you better mean it. At the top, there's a massive limestone cavern with permanent ice formations. In August, solid sheets of ice on the walls and the floor year-round, while it's 90 degrees on the plains below. Standing in there in the middle of summer is one of those Montana moments that doesn't photograph right. You just have to be there and let it land. On a clear day from that ridge, you can see over 200 miles to the Grand Tetons in Wyoming. Carry all your water up there, there's nothing on that ridge. And be ready for high-altitude lightning. The Snowy Crest is fully exposed and Montana weather doesn't give you a lot of warning. Need shipping, shredding, prints, or a real street address? Helena's locally owned and operated the UPS store has you covered. Located at 2047 North Last Chance Gulch. Stop by and get it done right. Okay, last stop, southeast corner, the Terry Badlands. Multicolored sandstone bluffs, hoodoos, natural bridges, all carved out over about 70 million years by the post-glacial Yellowstone River. 2 ways in. Highway 253 will take you to a clifftop overlook with some of the darkest skies in the lower 48. Montana's Trail to the Stars designation isn't marketing. The absence of light pollution out there is real. I've watched the Milky Way from that overlook on a moonless night, and it still surprises me. 400 years, and it still surprises me. The other option is the Calypso Trail. Primitive dirt road. High clearance 4-wheel drive only. And here is the part I need you to actually hear. If rain is coming, you don't go. The bentonite clay in those badlands undergoes rapid volume expansion when it gets wet. It fills your tire treads. It renders steering impossible. It is not mud. It is a trap. I have watched vehicles get swallowed by that road in the time it takes to finish a cup of coffee. Beautiful place. Unforgiving geology. Know the difference. Now look, I could keep going. I haven't even touched the Magruder Corridor, the Pryor Mountain Mustangs, the Big Hole National Battlefield, the Ross Creek Cedars, ancient western red cedars 8 feet in diameter, just standing there minding their business like they've been doing for centuries. Which, honestly, same. But the point isn't to see everything. The point is to see something right. Fill the tank, pick one road, let Montana do its job. This place doesn't bend to fit your schedule. It doesn't apologize for the gravel or the weather or the fact that there's no cell signal for the next 40 miles. And if you can make your peace with that, if you can slow down enough to let it come to you, it will give you something you won't find anywhere else. I've been out here 400 years. I'm not bored yet. All right, that's your one-tank trip guide from your favorite ancient cryptid. I'm Montana Max, this is the 406 Life, and if this episode gave you something worth taking out into those hills, I'd be real grateful if you'd rate the show and leave a review wherever you listen. 5 stars preferred. I've been undiscovered my entire existence, and I'd like the podcast to go better than that. Tell your people. Share it with whoever's been staring at a map and thinking about taking the slow road. Also, the complete guide is up at the406life.com if you are seeking more info. Until next time, stay on the marked trail. Or don't, but at least bring water. Montana Max, over and out. Got a Montana story, business, or unsolved mystery you want on the show? Head to the406life.com and drop me a line. No smoke signals required. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss a stomp, stumble, or tall tale. Tell your friends, tell your grandma, heck, tell that guy who swears he saw me near Whitefish. I was just buying donuts, all right? Until next time, keep it outrageous, keep it kind, and keep living the 406 life. Montana Max, over and out.
That's the 406 Live car.